The year is 1782. A lone whaling ship, the Argo, cuts through the slate-grey waters of the North Atlantic. For weeks, the sea has been a vast, empty expanse, the silence broken only by the creak of timber and snap of canvas in the wind. Then, one still fog-shrouded morning, the lookout cries out. Not a whale spout, but something else, something rising from the depths. The sea begins to boil, churning as if a great volcano were erupting from below. The crew stands frozen at the rails, their knuckles white, their breath caught in their throats. From the turbulent water emerges not one creature but a multitude of arms, each as thick as the ship's main mast, lined with suckers the size of dinner plates. They glisten, a sickly pale colour against the dark churning sea. As the ship is pulled under, the crew see, for a fleeting moment, a colossal eye, dark and intelligent, yet utterly alien. Long before the age of sail, the idea of colossal monsters lurking in the deep was already powerful in human consciousness. The ancient Greeks spoke of Scylla, a dreadful beast with multiple heads. The Roman writer Pliny the Elder described a monstrous polypus in the Strait of Gibraltar, a creature so large it could block the passage of ships. In Norse sagas, we find direct precursors to the Kraken. They spoke of the Hafgufa, a creature so enormous it was often mistaken for an island. Mariners would land on its back to camp, only to be dragged to their deaths when it submerged. These ancient tales laid the foundation for legends that followed. As the world moved into the Renaissance, cartographers began to populate the vast, unexplored ocean expanses. Where knowledge ended, imagination began. In these empty spaces they drew terrifying beasts, sea serpents, krakens, other leviathans. Hic sunt dracones, here be dragons. One of the most influential works was Olaus Magnus's Carta Marina, published in 1539. This map is a menagerie of marine monstrosities. Magnus, a Swedish ecclesiastic, gathered sailors' accounts and local folklore. To him, these creatures were as real as the whales and seals depicted alongside them. Beyond the grand myths, the most compelling evidence comes from practical shipboard accounts. The ship's log was not a place for fanciful storytelling, it was a document of record. Within these logs we find chillingly consistent descriptions, a common theme, the sudden inexplicable change in the sea. Then, the arms would appear. Pierre Denis de Montfort collected numerous accounts around 1800. One testimony described an attack off Angola, nearly dragged under before the crew severed its arms. These sailors described specific physical details: gelatinous rubbery skin, a powerful beak, enormous intelligent eyes watching with terrifying calmness. No single figure did more to cement the Kraken's place in natural history than Erik Pontoppidan, the Bishop of Bergen in Norway. In his Natural History of Norway, he dedicated an entire chapter to the creature. He was a man of the cloth and science, approaching the topic with scholarly curiosity. He gathered dozens of first-hand accounts, treating their testimonies as empirical evidence. Pontoppidan described the Kraken as round, flat, and full of arms. Its most astonishing characteristic was its sheer size, a circumference of 1.5 miles. Sailors often mistook its broad, dark back for an island. The danger came when the beast submerged, creating a gigantic, ship-devouring whirlpool. When we strip away embellishments and examine core descriptions, a surprisingly consistent anatomical picture emerges. The creature is almost universally described as having a cephalopod-like body. This means it belongs to the same class as octopus, squid and cuttlefish. The key features sailors reported point directly to cephalopods. The most terrifying feature was its multitude of arms, long, flexible limbs of immense strength capable of ensnaring a ship. Sailors reported the water turning dark. Today we know this as cephalopod defense. Finally, the Kraken's eye, a single, giant, unblinking orb staring from the depths. For centuries, the Kraken was a creature of myth. Mid-19th century, the myth began to wash ashore. 1853, a massive cephalopod washed up on a Danish beach. Japetus Steenstrup studied its remains and in 1857 named it Architeuthis dux. The legend had a scientific name. 1873, two fishermen in Newfoundland had a terrifying encounter. They hacked off a tentacle with an axe. It measured 19 feet, physical proof the North Atlantic housed colossal squids. More evidence followed. These animals could grow enormous, females up to 43 feet. The monster was real, Architeuthis. With confirmed existence of giant squids, science can offer rational explanation for the Kraken legend. We can say with confidence the giant squid is the real animal behind the myth, and yet profound mystery remains. The giant squid is one of our planet's most elusive large animals. For all our technology, we've only filmed it in natural habitat a handful of times. Could there be creatures even larger than documented? We have mapped less than a quarter of the seafloor. Every expedition brings new species, new surprises. The Kraken lives on, not as supernatural monster, but as symbol of wild, untamed mystery in our oceans. It whispers a question to every explorer. What else is down there, waiting in the cold, silent dark?